What's up, guys? This is the host of No Holding Back, Chris Yellow. With recent rumors suggesting that Marvel Studios have Keanu Reeves as their top pick to play Moonlight, Kevin Feige has been trying for years to get Keanu Reeves on board to join the MCU. So today, we're going to be talking about 3 Marvel characters Keanu Reeves could play in the MCU. And we have Mass back on the podcast to give his insight and help us to determine which 3 characters he should be playing. So thank you so much for coming back on the podcast, man.
Anytime. I think I'm breaking a record, huh? 3rd time appearance.
Yes, and we'll hope that continues. Starting off with the Silver Surfer, what would make Keanu Reeves the perfect man for this job?
Well, for those who don't fully know the Silver Surfer, a quick little backstory. He is a man from another planet called Zenla. When Galactus comes to devour his planet, he offers up himself to be Galactus' herald to find planets for him to devour.
Silver Surfer is a tormented soul with a good heart. He lost his parents, and through the desire of trying to understand planets' histories, he was made Galactus' messenger or herald. He couldn't stand finding planets for Galactus just to devour. So when he came across Earth, he's like, it's enough. Like, I'm done working for you. And then he was introduced to the Fantastic Four and the rest of the MCU. And if you read his comics or any comic related stories involving Silver Surfer, you'll get the gist of it. So he's one of the most powerful and complex heroes in the Marvel Universe. Keanu Reeves would be a good fit since he's an experienced actor. And the reason why we're mentioning Silver Surfer on this list is because Keanu is very busy right now with the John Wick franchise and the Matrix 4. So if he could appear as a Silver Surfer in a cameo in various movies, like in the upcoming Fantastic Four movie that's rumored to be in production, obviously it hasn't been announced. But, obviously with the new era of the MCU among us, Silver Surfer would be a fantastic role for Keanu Reeves. Especially you got star power and you got a very familiar role that hasn't been on the big screen since the second Fantastic Four movie. His personality is very laid back, very quiet. So Keanu Reeves would have the fantastic tone of voice for this character. We've seen Keanu Reeves very laid back. He's very conservative when it comes to his personal life. I think that would be a good fit for Keanu Reeves. What do you think?
I think it would definitely be an interesting role for him to play. I don't know what his actual schedule entails. Like, what does he want to do right now? Silver Surfer is probably not going to be coming to the MCU for a while. I don't think he'll be the first thing they introduce when they introduce the Fantastic Four. I feel like that's too much to introduce in one film. So we're talking like along the line. I definitely think he'd be an interesting actor to take the role. If he'd be down to do cameo appearances only, because I don't know that he needs to be in the front and center type of guy. I'd love to see Keanu here and there just pop into films. I think it'd be great.
This would be the least favorable situation for fans to see Keanu Reeves in the MCU. That's my perspective, and I think a lot of people would agree with that. They would like to see him in another role that has been highly anticipated, which is the Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider. I know you're very familiar with that character.
A little background for those who are listening and don't know. The gist for Johnny Blaze is he's a stuntman on a motorcycle, makes a deal with the devil, goes wrong, and then one day he becomes the Ghost Rider trapped in this ghostly flame body with his motorcycle that he calls to himself. It's kind of a tortured soul.
I think Keanu Reeves would fill this role, not only because he looks fantastic in any black clothing, especially in the John Wick franchise and the Matrix franchise, where he's primarily always in black. He has a collection of motorcycles. He loves motorcycles, and he does his own stunts with motorcycles in the John Wick franchise. 2 months ago, it was reported that they were in advanced talks to cast Keanu Reeves as the Ghost Rider, but I guess things fell apart. Keanu can really help the Ghost Rider as one of the top heroes in the MCU by meshing star power and a very underrated character like the Ghost Rider. I think it would be fantastic. Yes, Nicolas Cage is a controversial actor, but he was pretty interesting in the role of Ghost Rider, but the story itself was garbage, especially the sequel was 10 times worse. Nicolas Cage did a pretty good job on what he was given. I think we could potentially see Ghost Rider partnering up with Blade at some point. Not only that, it would be the 9th time Keanu Reeves plays a character named either John or Johnny, and he's been familiar with Hell and the Devil because he was casted in roles such as Constantine and the Devil's Advocate, where Hell and the Devil was very important in those movies.
I definitely think Ghost Rider would be a very interesting character to come in. I do hope that Marvel, now that their first major arc is over, that they start focusing on the other little niches in the Marvel universe. I'm not going to call it the horror verse, but the horror side of Marvel, where you have Blade and Ghost Rider, Punisher and Daredevil. Because I feel like what they focused on now has just been the main guys, the big guys, like superstars. But I feel like there's like a lot of characters that are grounded and like horror themed that they can just expand their universe so well. I think Ghost Rider would be a great step following Blade. And I don't know when Blade comes out though. I think it's like 2023 or something.
That's a fantastic point you brought up. Ghost Rider should be part of like this horror or like dark universe where you have Ghost Rider, Daredevil, Punisher, Moon Knight, Doctor Strange, and Wanda as well, especially that the next movie is rumored to be very dark, directed by Sam Raimi, which is a horror director. That's what he's known for. And obviously the Spider-Man trilogy, aka the Holy Trilogy. Anyways, what I'm trying to get here is that that's a fantastic point. Keanu Reeves could play a very, very dark character, and he has done that in the past, like I've mentioned before. Physically, he would fit the role, and based on his stunts and his personal life, I think this is the ideal role for Keanu. It just fits him 100%. And like you were saying with the Silver Surfer, it could be years until we see that. But as Ghost Rider, we could see this come sooner.
It would be an interesting role. It's obviously not our or most people's ideal role for him to be in, but it would definitely be something I'd pay for it.
I think a lot of people are starting to demand characters like Ghost Rider, Daredevil, Punisher. I wouldn't really consider them B-list heroes, but I would consider them more of a vigilante type of hero. Something similar like Luke Cage as well, Iron Fist. Basically, the characters that had their own TV shows. I think that would be a fantastic direction for the character and for the MCU. Now, moving on to the last character we have on this list, Moon Knight. So this has actually been one of the most talked about heroes since he's getting his own TV show, and the MCU has reportedly been saying that Keanu Reeves is their top pick to portray this character, and there's a lot of reasons why, which we're going to get into.
So Moon Knight, for all those who don't know, can be compared to the Batman. He's very similar to Daredevil, but he plays out more like a Punisher character where he's a vigilante, but he doesn't kill people like Punisher, but he physically harms them, like he cuts people's faces off and stuff. So him and Punisher would get along very well if that's the genre I'm putting him in. His name is Mark Spector. He does suffer from schizophrenia because of his multiple aliases. He is more or less a good guy, but like I said, you can see him with the likes of Punisher. Like he's teamed up with Spiderman and Daredevil, but like he's not the nicest guy.
You'd see him part of a dark universe that we mentioned before, like Ghost Rider, Moon Knight, Punisher, Daredevil, the list goes on. He's like ex-mercenary where a potential friendship between him and Frank Castle can start since they have a background in army services. He's a grizzled character. He's like a John Wick Batman hybrid. He's a wealthy crime fighter with extensive martial arts skills, and he has a lot of gadgets. So he's basically Marvel's Batman in this case. Keanu Reeves can really rock a suit, like I was saying before in the John Wick franchise, and him playing an older millionaire or billionaire type of character would really fit Keanu. And we've seen him like lose himself in roles before and get angry. He's very emotional when he portrays certain characters. He loves acting, like he stated before. He's very involved in martial arts such as jiu-jitsu, wushu, boxing, Krav Maga, and you could see that in his roles such as the John Wick franchise, the Matrix franchise, and lesser known movies such as Man of Tai Chi and 47 Ronin. So he loves martial arts as much as he loves his motorcycles. So that's why I would say Moon Knight and Ghost Rider are tied as the top picks for Keanu Reeves because they just fit who he is as a person and as an actor.
I guess it just depends on what Keanu Reeves is looking for, whether it's a movie or a TV show role. Because as much as we do want him as Moon Knight, I don't know how down he is to make a TV show for Marvel.
I think he's a very reserved guy, and I think at this point, he just wants to play a superhero in general. And if it fits his persona, like I was mentioning before, he's going to be 100% down with the idea, whether if it's in a TV show or a movie. And that's why I think any of these three characters would be a good fit. Obviously, we're favoring more of a Moon Knight or Ghost Rider character, whereas Silver Surfer, it's more in the gray area. We don't really know what's happening with him, if he's ever going to be mentioned anytime soon, or it could come as a total surprise and they just say, you know what, as Silver Surfer, he's going to appear in a potential Fantastic Four movie, but we don't know that because it hasn't been reported yet. But I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. Thank you for giving your knowledge on each of the characters. I think the audience will really appreciate that. I know I do.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me, man.
So for the audience, new viewers, old viewers, just wanted to say, don't forget to check out anything related to the Marvel Universe. You could also check out the DC universe, comic related stuff, or anything of your liking. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much, guys, once again. Until the next one, have a good one.